Scanning for audio.
This time, talking about Blake 7, Series 2, Episode 6, Truth and Lies. This brings us rather nicely to the end of Series 2, and I have loved this. I don't know, as of recording this, if there is even going to be a Series 3 of full cast Blake 7 plays. There are rumours, or indeed is that just hopes, that there will be something set in Series D, that's Series 4, involving the Scorpio and lots of other characters, but as lots of people are, and characters and settings are all, well, copyright of someone other than the Terry Nation estate, it makes things a bit more complicated. So if that does come off, I'll be pleased, and if it doesn't, I'll be sad. But if there's no more Blake 7s except for the Chronicles, or indeed at all, then I'll be absolutely gutted. But why? Why am I like this? Why am I being sad about it? Well, there was an announcement made just the other day, as of recording this, that the Blake 7 discs will no longer be produced. That's not to say that Blake 7, the stories, won't be available, and they'll be available as download only. And I know it's the future, but there is something oh so pleasant about holding an artefact, a real thing in your hands, owning something. Audio does feel ephemeral, which is probably why some people out there don't like paying for it, because they can listen to the radio, but that's hardly a well thought out policy. So, we're at the end of Blake 7 as of now, and you know what? It's been a great ride. The whole point of this series has been, well, the quest for Dayna. Now, the actress who plays Dayna doesn't really want anything to do with Blake 7. Not particularly great. I can understand that she's a person, and that's fair enough. You know, when I was listening to the Verity podcast, a concept was introduced to me, and I think it's called the Doylist and, is it the Holmesian or the Watson approach? Either way, basically it splits into two very precise camps. What we get as a narrative is based on two very important things. The first one is the things that are important to the author of the piece and the production company. That's called the Doylist approach, because Arthur Conan Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes. He couldn't be bothered to write any more Sherlock Holmes, so he killed him off. But narratively speaking, that's the Watson approach or the Holmesian approach, then, well, they had to create a plot that fitted in with the reality of the writing. And that kind of works. So that's what we've got here. The reality approach means that the actress doesn't want to be in this, but everybody else does. So the narrative approach, it gives us, well, a story with a quest for Dayna. Now, on some levels in your head, you're going, oh, she's not going to be in this series, but there is a third option, and we'll call it the fan approach. It's that small level of pointless hope that although you know the facts, you are in denial. It's in the same category as anticipantment. It needs a name, and I will endeavour to come up with one. So you have the narrative approach, the author approach, and the fan approach. And the fan approach states that, wouldn't it be lovely if Dayna, despite the fact that she says she doesn't want to be in the series, or she could be played by Angela Bruce, turns up in the last episode? Well, whether she does or doesn't, that would be classed as a spoiler. But remember, the fan approach is basically wishful thinking. And if she did come back, that would mean that this would be a closed-off narrative, thus resulting in this lineup, this group of 7 wouldn't get to be 7, they'd suddenly be Blake's 8. Perhaps, perhaps not. Perhaps we'll just come back to this another time. So what's Truth and Lies about? 2.6 Truth and Lies Synopsis. Here we go. The search for Dayna has led the crew of the Liberator halfway across the galaxy, but now Avon knows why she left. He knows where she went. He knows what she's looking for. But can he find his missing crewmate before it's too late? The answers lie on the planet called Appallon 5. but so does Danger and Betrayal, written by Justin Richards and directed perfectly by Lisa Bowerman. Her work on this series has been brilliant. She's taken 6 remarkably good scripts and produced 6 remarkably good stories. Yes, there was a whole story arc linked with Series 1 that was big, monumental and worthy of a proper end-of-season storyline. This one, smaller, more intimate, but just as, well, earth-shattering. I am now, by this point, 12 stories in, a big fan of Alistair Locke's Zen and Orac. I can totally live with these. If there is a set of stories set in, well, Series D, he'll be able to do Slave no problem. So perhaps I should withdraw my audition piece. Seriously though, it's a great story. The synopsis doesn't really do it that much justice because it's, well, spoilerific to talk about anymore. Yes, they've followed the craft that may or may not have Dayna to a particular world in the, well, outreaches of the galaxy, which may or may not have someone that Dayna is looking for living there. Why she's there, part of the plot. Who she's with, part of the plot. It all makes, well, sense. And it all fits perfectly within the Blake 7 universe. Now recently, on the Big Finish forums, which after the close of the SFX forums is where I've been hanging around, there's been talk of, well, the Daleks turning up in Blake 7. It's that fan wishful thing. Now again, you've got your author approach, which means that, well, although they're copyright of the same person and they're all nation's estate, it would prove more difficult. And then you've seriously got the Blake 7 universe and the Doctor Who universe taking place at the same time. That's not a good idea, really, is it? Especially if Colin Baker were ever to turn up and have to play more than one part. Seriously though, and this makes much more sense, it just shouldn't happen. Blake 7's darker. It would be like having, I don't know, aliens in Red Dwarf, where the whole point of the first 4 seasons but there were no aliens. Yeah, let that go, I think. I think we should. No, in actual seriousness, the Blake 7 universe is a creature all of its own, and we shouldn't have that. However, I am a huge fan of the Unbound series of Doctor Who stories, where you took one strand of narrative and took it off in a different direction, a sort of what if. So how about a what if Big Finish, where you've got what if Blake 7 and the Daleks did turn up? Someone did suggest what if survivors and the only people on Earth were the Daleks? You know, who are we going to take orders from now? No one. Let's take up our own orders. I cannot comprehend this kind of thing. We were being just a little bit silly, but you do see where I'm going with this. You could have a Worlds of Big Finish in a more expanded universe and do it with all this lot. I'm not quite sure what you'd do with survivors. Possibly zombie attacked all the characters? Perhaps not. I'm not fond of zombies as well, you know. I'm rambling and well off topic. This is a great Blake 7 story. The whole series has been fantastic. And so, rather than spoil anything for you, I'll just say, seriously, buy this. And then let you listen to the trailer. So until next time, when we'll definitely be talking about Doctor Who because, well, apart from the Liberator Chronicles, there's nothing else left to talk about. Oh, there are 50-odd episodes of Blake 7 that were on TV I could cover at some point, if anyone's interested. Either way, be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions. Blake 7, Truth and Lies.
This is Anders Kramer, designation Alpha 509. Put me through to the President's private comms channel. I have clearance authority Red 1. My passcode is Liberated.
Got her.
But we still don't know for sure it's Dayna.
I see it. Definitely a ship.
The ship is currently approaching Appallon 5.
We know that.
And will be destroyed in precisely 7 seconds.
What?
The vegetation here is burnt. This must be where it came down.
Liberator, we found the locator beacon.
They've got her? Be careful, Tarrant. Whoever installed that defense grid will know it's been activated.
Thanks, but the thought had occurred to me.
Ah, there you all are. Good of you to join me.
The pleasure is all yours.
I can assure you guns really aren't necessary.
Kareen Mellenby.
Dayna's mother. So she is down there.
I get the impression she didn't think things through.
Really? Because I get the impression we're being lied to.
We know your daughter.
Yes, I was afraid to wake her in case...
In case she'd discovered the truth about you?
I really think you should put those down, slowly and carefully.
And why would you think that?
Because if you don't, I'll blow his head off.
Are we going to do what he says?
And I thought you were the decision maker. You're pathetic, all of you. As pathetic as this child who just had to come running home to Mummy.
Leave Dayna out of this.
Too bad she learned that Mummy was a murderer.
No!
For that, your daughter dies.
Big Finish. We love stories.